Hello, this is Brendan Acebo, Associate at Large of the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. Because of the intensity of a few scenes in today's episode, we don't recommend it for children under 8 years old. And as always, we hope that parents and kids are listening together as a family. I hope you enjoy today's program.
Hello and welcome to the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. I'm Dylan Weaver.
I'm Andrew Acebo.
And today we are talking about episode 491, The Black Veil, Part 2.
Yeah, so it's picking up right where the last one left off, and the weird sci-fi-esque Adventures in Odyssey two-parter. It's very good. This is like one of my favorite two-parters in like the whole series. I lied. I don't think I like this more than Grand Opening. I think this is better than Grand Opening. I was all on the Grand Opening hype train when we were covering it, but I think I like this one more.
I get that on one hand. On the other hand, I don't know that this feels like a really like cohesive two-parter.
No.
In the same way that Grand Opening didn't.
Yeah. It was an opening, kinda.
Right. Like, it's obviously these two episodes are separate from the next one and the ones previous, but they're not that closely tied, other than like we're bouncing back between Odyssey and Alaska.
Well, and I find it odd only in that like the four-parter seemed actually fairly cohesive.
Yeah, no, the four-parter felt like one story for 4 parts.
Yeah, and these two-parters are a little bit more disconnected, which is odd.
Yeah, but I think part of the reason the four-parter felt like that is because they were having different people writing each storyline. So it was like one person covered this part of the storyline for all 4 episodes.
Yeah.
So the bouncing back and forth didn't feel quite as jarring. Whereas I don't know what the writing is for this, but it doesn't
feel the same way, I would say.
No, it doesn't. I guess I'm going to roll the promo.
It seems like the thing to do.
Anything else to cover up top? No? Promo.
On the next Adventures in Odyssey, the battle is just beginning.
I'm just realizing how very serious this is.
You're coming down with it, aren't you? I'm taking you to the doctors.
Forget it, Walter. I'm fine.
No, you are coming with me right now.
What happened, Whit?
Oh, Connie, it was awful. The most horrible thing I've ever experienced.
A dramatic conclusion to The Black Veil on the next Adventures in Odyssey.
I really got that 30 seconds there.
Oh, yeah. You got to stretch it. A dramatic conclusion. I think we should do that for all of our episodes. Make sure they're exactly 60 minutes.
Yeah.
just have music fading out for like 20 minutes on the end of the short ones.
Oh yeah. Well, that would be so bad. Or shortest episode's like less than 30 minutes long, isn't it?
No, I think our shortest is like 36.
Oh, might be
36, maybe 34.
Okay. Yeah. It's just a 30-minute fade out.
Yeah. Anyways.
Back into Odyssey.
Yeah.
So the episode starts with Cal coming over to Alex's house, which
Calix.
I was the first time in, probably 8 episodes ish.
It's been a
moment
because we got Alex the last episode.
Yeah.
But now we have Cal back, and I was very excited for that.
Yeah. And so Alex is sick, and Cal comes to visit him. He's like
through the window.
Yes, of course, because
why
use a door?
Yeah.
I guess I wouldn't want to alert his mom, but I don't understand.
Well, because
I think was he grounded?
Alex is grounded because he was mouthing off to Whit and other people.
Yeah.
So
and various others.
Yeah. So Cal sneaks in and they're talking about Cal's just really excited that Alex has the Odenton bug.
Yeah. He's like really curious about. He seems very Jared-esque in this.
Yeah.
In this episode specifically.
Oh yeah.
Those infomercials would shrivel anyone's brain.
Oh, yeah.
He's talking about watching TV at his friend's house, and now he's upset and he's having all these problems. Something about getting a fight over a card game, which...
Yeah, someone ended up in a hospital because of fight over a card game. Give it time.
If I was a more violent person, I feel like I totally would. Like, feelings could be have. Like, the nuts thing, that's... Okay, that's a little exaggerated, but...
Card games.
There are some very long and frustrating games of Uno. Anywho, so it was an interesting scene. A lot of catching up between Alex and Cal into what's going on. And then it cuts to Alex going to Wit's End.
Yeah, there's a line that I want to hit before. Well, because it does establish the idea that Cal is thinking that the satellite boxes are the reason people are getting sick, because Odenton's getting these test satellite boxes, and also they now have the Odenton bug.
Yeah.
And Alex has a incredible line that is, I heard that if you let your brain veg out for a while, it can shrivel up like a big raisin.
Yeah.
A big raisin.
Yeah,
not just a raisin.
Which is like, I remember hearing that. It's funny to think that like there was a time when that was really a big deal.
Yeah.
And like I think that there is a lot of mindless television that's like can be destructive, but I feel like particularly our generation, it was really cracked down on.
Yep.
As far as like, you guys just all you do is watch television. It's like, in the 60s, like that's all they did.
Yeah, there's at
least civil rights have gotten better, but
right, and
we
now
still watch a lot of TV.
And now like for a while we blame TV, now we blame social media. Like it's just it's never a revolving door. There's a really great XKCD where they're talking about where he like goes and pulls up these historical documents, and it's like at this time people were ranting about books destroying like these kids' lives, and then it was like newspapers, and then so it's like this and radio. This has been the thing that's always going on,
and like I understand like the desire to always want to like to parent your kids better, but it does seem like with this whole overarching situation being what's being revealed to be very media centric, it is kind of bothersome to me in that way.
Yeah, it feels a little bit like, hey, focus on the family. Remember the
Satellite
fact
is the
that
boogeyman.
You are a like media company as well.
Yeah.
And we are listening to all of this
Yeah.
via your media company.
Yeah. And also like you want to be involved in all of our consumption of media. Like we got plugged in for TV shows and movies and stuff like that. So you're not just doing the radio. And
I mean, you made Adventures in Odyssey TV show as well.
Oh, Focus on the Family actually made it?
Yeah, that's who else would have?
I don't know. For some reason I thought it was an independent thing.
No.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Why did you sign off on that? Paul McCusker. Why?
Come on the show. Explain yourself, Paul.
I have so many questions. The list is ever growing. You need to come over here.
Yes. Get your butt in here, Paul.
Paul.
I
think he really likes it when we address him by his first name.
Yeah, I'm sure. You're the one with first name issues.
It's true. Mrs. and Mr. Shepherd. So then we cut to Alex going to Wit's End to apologize to Wit for being a jerk, and Wit's like, that's very kind of you, but
you need to come back when
Nick's here and apologize to him. Just like, yeah, right, whatever.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
I suppose that makes sense.
It does, but
and then
the fact that Wit feels the need to
almost
bring that up is weird.
Well, and I think it's more the tone that he uses. He's like, that's good and all, but it doesn't mean anything until you apologize to Nick, was kind of the vibe that I got.
Very
As
much
opposed
so.
to being like, thank you for doing this. You should also apologize to Nick.
Yeah.
You know? And then bring Jason calls.
Yeah, but before that, you're rushing. Well, the only thing that we need to note is that Alex mentions to Wit about the satellite
about
thing,
the boxes,
because that's going to come in. That's going to become important. But there's, I don't know. Yeah, and then the phone rings. Alex leaves. Wit takes the call. I love it so much. It's like
their dynamic is so good.
Oh yeah, that's great too. I love the transition here. Mm-hmm. It's very much like a Richard Linklater movie or something where we walk into the store focused on Alex. Alex and Wit have an exchange. Then Alex leaves and the camera stays with Wit.
Yeah, exactly. You can see the phone go off in the background and like the sound of it being picked up, like listening to it, like you can very clearly imagine it happening. And then also Wit's vocal tone changing when he realizes that it's Jason, like it's very endearing.
Yeah, and we follow, but it's like the whole thing of like we follow into the scene with one character and then without a cut switch focus to another character.
What we care about.
And so then Wit and Jason are on the phone, and Jason's just calling up Wit to be like, hey,
This
I'm in
is where I'm at,
Alaska.
yeah.
Things are crazy. Pray.
Yeah, which
Which-
was very good of
Yeah.
him.
It is a really
And this episode's good for that, and we'll get to it later. But I do really appreciate the spiritual centric, like, kind of return to the spiritual side of things.
Yeah.
That happens in this episode, just because it does feel like it has been kind of distant. Yeah, so he gets caught up to what's going on in Alaska.
Yep.
He's talking about the satellite boxes that are being put in, and people are being angry there.
Yeah, I think he's talking about the anger first, and maybe what
Yeah.
brings up the satellite thing. And
Yeah.
Jason's like, "Oh yeah, we've
We
got
have
those
those
too." Yeah.
And which
So
is
they-
very much an aha moment as to
Yeah.
why that is.
Yeah,
It does bother me. Why in Alaska too?
Yeah, I don't know. But also, they jump on the whole thing so, like, without a ton of speculation.
Yeah,
They just
as
kind
to
of take this
what
idea and
is.
run with it. And it's,
But we went on that. We just on that last episode,
yeah,
which is
it's
kind
a-
of like I decided that this is a physical thing.
yeah, it's a crazy idea just, like, to pick it up and run with it. And I get, like, they set up the evidence very nicely in the episode, but there's still a part of me that's like,
But that's after 2.5 albums of Wit being like, the programming's the problem, the violence and the murder and the presumably children being set on fire. Like, presumably these horrible things are happening, and he's like, satellite boxes. Like, that's why the kids are angry.
yep. And then what's the other thing that no. And then that's kind of like that's where that scene fizzles out.
Yeah.
And then we jump to
Oh no. It's important to note, because this is a really big deal. Jason's talking to Wit, and they're talking about the satellite boxes, and Jason realizes that Mark is being affected, even though he's not with them.
Yeah, we hit that. We hit that later though, I think.
Is that later?
Cuz he brings up the fact that, like, oh, everyone has the boxes.
Oh, yeah,
and then
yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, except for Mark, and he's still getting affected.
Yeah.
And so he goes to investigate after
We cut back to Alex.
Well, no. So we have a jump here where we do a perspective switch.
Yeah.
So we switch from Wit talking on the phone with Jason
Yes, to Jason being
talking on the phone
to
with
Wit.
Wit
And it's
without
so good.
missing any. Like, I think it switches in the middle of, like, Jason's line or something. Like, it's a really good thing. And then Wit just says bye. Jason hangs up, and Jason says something along the lines of, like, well, there's only one way to find out.
What a dummy.
And he sits himself down in front of the TV.
And presumably watches TV for 10 hours?
Something like that.
8 hours at least?
Maybe more.
Because, so it was, 6 in the morning? And Wit's End, we find out in this episode, closes at 9?
Yeah, but there's a time difference between Alaska and Chicago. Or not Chicago, Odyssey. But there's also...
I'm not trying to do that math in my head.
Yeah. But also, I think the biggest indicator is when...
That would be even longer then, because there'd be 3 hours behind.
It's a long time, because when Walter shows up and
Yeah.
walks in, and it says, Jason, it's 10, he says at night.
Yeah.
So presumably he started watching before 10 at night.
Yeah. And was watching till 10 in the morning. Yeah.
Right. So it's a lot of TV.
Yeah.
But
It's funny, because in my head, they're just sitting, like, hypnotized in front of the television. But are you just going to watch one station for, like, 12 hours?
well, I don't think it matters. I think regardless if you switch stations, it's the box
That's what
that's doing.
Yeah.
But he might be channel surfing too. It also is just hilarious. Like we hit on it. It's later in this episode, right, where we find out, like, well, where it's reiterated that Wit doesn't have a TV.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, like, so Jason grew up with Wit, so Jason's probably not had a ton of TV exposure.
Yeah.
But now it's just like, I'll watch TV for 14 hours.
That's like one of those, like the quintessential thing where they're like, the kid that's never allowed to have junk food finally has junk food.
Yeah.
Eats a ton.
Yeah.
It's like, this is amazing.
But
The
yeah.
voice acting from Jason's really good when he comes out of this trance, like, it's so glazed over and like,
Yeah, he does the glazed over thing pretty well. He doesn't do the angry thing
will you quit nagging me?
It doesn't. I don't know.
bad.
I'm not sold on it at all, and it's unfortunate.
Well, it just doesn't sound like he's actually mad. Like, boy, like he could have. I understand it's an outburst, but I feel like the voice actor could have definitely just been more angry, and it would have been fine.
Yeah, for sure. It's not very convincing.
Yeah. And then they want Jason to go to the doctor, but he decides, like, what's the name? Was it Walter?
Yeah.
Walter is super upset at him because Walter comes over because they have to meet with Mark and his family, right?
Right.
They're supposed to go meet with him, and Jason is just in this trance, and he's super like behind, and he's like, oh well, you go take a shower, like I'll make you some coffee and stuff like that. Like Walter's being super friendly, and then Jason's like, well, let me just finish this movie and whatever, and then Walter continues to kind of like push him, like, no, like this is, we got to do this, and Jason has an outburst, and then Walter's like, I'm taking you to the hospital, which seems to be the next step always with these people, that
right.
They're just like, okay, you've got this bug, you're going to the hospital.
Yep. And then it's the drive to the hospital that
Yeah.
Jason's like, oh wait, turn around, I figured it out, we don't need to go to the hospital.
I'm fine.
And
he snaps out of it really quickly.
he does. Even more so when you think about the fact that Alex
would spend
like,
one
right,
night.
Exactly. He spent one night in Odenton, and for a week now
Yeah.
has been having nightmares about
and-
being a monster and outlashing,
Backlashing? Outbursting?
lashing out.
Outcast.
Big boy.
Yeah, and so he kind of turns it off, which is again kind of like, well, whatever. I'll look past it.
Yeah.
And so then they end up going over to the place that they were supposed to go. And
Yeah, they're
Jason
going
just
over
goes like
to-
full spy and just busts
Yep.
into their house and then asks a bunch of questions and then busts into somebody
Yeah,
else's house.
no, he goes into the neighbor's house and is like, so he goes into, this is Mark's the kid. I don't remember
Yeah.
what the parents' names are.
Months. What?
What?
No,
It doesn't matter.
no, that's-
It's fine. I think the Merriweathers? What's their last name? No, he's staying with the Merriweathers because he can't stay with these people.
yeah.
This isn't worth it. All right.
Continue.
So Jason like busts into there and is like, hey, like, Mark doesn't have a TV, does
Yeah.
he? But then you can hear in the background the TV from the neighbor's house.
Yeah.
So he like goes into the neighbor's house, and sure enough, they've got a black box.
Yeah.
And he's like, I figured it out.
Yeah.
It's the black boxes. Satellite boxes
Of the devil.
of the devil.
The devil's hands
Devilish
reaching
satellite boxes.
through the walls, I'll tell you what.
So we then cut from Jason in Alaska to Cal at Alex's window. He has
A black
box that he's very like, I don't know how, like, Alex is like, how did you get this? He's like, I don't know.
Yeah, he's like, well, whatever.
But like, how did he get it?
He must have stolen it.
Like, from who? It's they have to be in people's houses. Did he
Yeah.
break into someone's house and
Maybe
take
his like
it?
grandparents had one and he like stole it without them knowing. Like that.
Maybe.
I feel like I'd
But
do that.
also, how did he get to Odenton? From Odyssey?
He's
like,
running.
Like they
Man's on a
really,
mission. Just
they
gloss
really
over
gloss over this.
How the fact that he got a yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
but then
Now
he
that we
brings-
know that he's a spy as well.
yeah, so
Busting
they,
into people's houses and taking their boxes.
yeah,
A pattern.
hide your satellite boxes. Cows on the loose. All right, and then
They look it up and he's like, wow, that's a lot of circuits.
yeah, they open it up and he's like, and Cal's like, don't worry, I fixed my VCR dozens of times.
How often do you need? You should just get a new VCR.
But also, VCR and satellite box.
Not the same.
No, they're both electronic, and that's
Yeah,
it.
they both run on electricity, and that is
I
the
would be
sum
like,
total.
I would be slightly more accepting if he had said DVD player.
Yeah.
Slightly.
Yeah.
And this is at a point where we have DVD players.
Yes.
But not an
No,
Odyssey.
they don't have them. But they do have, what is it? Appleberry?
Yeah, Appleberry's coming up in the Green Ring Conspiracy whenever we
Exactly.
decide to cover that.
In 8 years.
Yep, pretty much. Oh boy, I hope we're not doing this in 8 years.
If we are, stop us.
If we are either, we had better be like a top-rated podcast in the world.
Yeah.
Or stop us.
Yeah. We got to be making some dough out of this. Not a ton.
If we're doing this for 8 years and we haven't monetized, stop us.
Yeah. But we do have a Patreon, so like, I mean, anything other than that.
And then, so they open it up. It's made by Veil Industries.
Veil Industry? Veil.
Yeah.
I feel like veil is a much more normal word than veal.
Yeah, maybe.
Because veal is a one specific kind of food that
But I don't know that he's reading it as it's veal. I think he's just mispronouncing veil.
Fair enough.
Like he's never seen the word veil written out, and so he reads it as veal.
Yeah. Fair enough. I guess they're young.
Because
Maybe.
the I is after the E.
It throws me off every time I write it.
I mean, or when it says A, like in neighbor and way, it's veil. That is an A sound, Andrew.
I know.
And then, Cal wants to Google Veil Industries,
yeah,
and Alex is
basically.
like, no, we can't do that.
It'll
So,
blow
like,
up the internet.
dude, you're fine. You can
Yeah.
Google a company without getting in trouble, I think.
Yeah.
But also, does Alex have a computer in his room?
Nah, his mom has a computer downstairs, I guess.
Right, I know. But
But the
maybe
whole
his
window
parents
thing-
aren't home?
That'd be my guess. It seems like it's a
Yeah.
middle of the day situation.
Because I feel like, I don't know, I feel
We are
like
in the summer, but then if her parents aren't home, then why does it matter?
we're not in the summer anymore. The school year
Yes,
started
yeah.
because of Erica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's after school. Maybe it's in that sweet like 3:30 to 5:30 range in which you get home from school, but your parents aren't home yet.
Yeah, but there's no way. Oh, I guess she does work.
Yeah.
Whoa.
She works at the college.
Well done, Focus on the Family.
We've got a working mother, and it doesn't seem that they are financially destitute. We got this. You're really pushing
We
boundaries.
did
it once, and we didn't even try. It was necessary for the plot.
She's the secretary, so they have to be female.
It's true. That makes sense. Yeah.
Except for next episode. And then Cal starts like has all these like conspiracy theories about
Because he's Jared.
right. Literally, he's Jared in this episode about how
Yeah.
Vale is
Yeah.
brainwashing people and doesn't want to. Oh, so they Google it and they can't find anything.
Yeah. They have
And
no
then-
contact information, but they do have a website, which again is odd because I'm pretty sure people they somehow contact them later or something like that.
Yeah.
Or they have a phone number.
Well,
that gives
yeah,
them, give them the runaround.
Right. Jason gets the runaround from the phone number, but I think he's talking to the cable company in Alaska. The cable guy in Odyssey says that he hasn't been able to contact
them.
Black Veil through their phone, but he's a vendor, so he would have access to that information, even if it wasn't on the site, presumably.
Yeah.
Then
They go back to Wits End, right?
yeah, well, I don't. Cal, or they say we should take this to Mr. Whitaker, but Alex doesn't come along because he's still
Yeah.
around it. So it's just Cal takes it to Wit.
And Connie's there, and so he shows them the box, and Wit recognizes it as a lot of the technology from the Imagination Station.
Yeah, they have it. They have it opened up.
And Connie kind of connects the dots verbally because thank you, slow females.
Yep.
Apparently,
And they're on the phone with Jason.
yeah,
And
and it's all kind of coming together.
yeah, there's what does he say? He says,
Well, so the first mention of, so I think Wit's on the phone with Jason before Cal comes in. I think.
Yeah, I think he's on the phone.
I mean, that's
No,
what it's the order
actually,
in my notes.
I think Cal comes in, and I think the implication is that they've been working on it.
Yeah.
And then Jason calls.
Okay. Yeah,
And so Jason's explaining the thing. Wit's talking about how there's a port that goes out.
Yeah.
And a port that goes in. So it's like they talk about infrared, so it's the IR receiver for the remote.
But then there's also something that's
But then
coming out of the box.
right, and out. Port is the wrong word.
No, it's just
it's a node.
Yeah.
If you're gonna talk about it in like the vaguest of terms, it's a node. It isn't by no means a port.
No, a port
and I
would
just
be-
felt
yeah.
like saying that.
It's wrong. And you do IT professionally, so.
Yeah, I do. And then they're like, it must be like there's some IR sending out. Maybe that's what's making people angry. And then Jason brings up like, oh,
But it's been going through the walls
Yeah.
because they don't actually have one, so it's not a visual thing.
and then they say, well, maybe it's radio waves. And then Connie's like, Eugene.
Radio waves? Radio waves? We've been hearing that for 3 albums.
Yep. Brainwaves, radio waves.
Together?
At last. And the black box has imagination station circuitry. We already hit on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Wit calls back to when the imagination station got stolen by freaking Barry. Right, was it Barry?
It was Barry.
Before
Barry, friend of Mary.
Yeah.
So contrary.
Sherry's berries. How about that? And so it got stolen, but Wit was like, ha ha ha, it was missing an important part.
Yep.
And so
That part, there's like a substitute part
isn't
kind
like
of
isn't
in
like
there.
a red piece or something like that, or this black piece or something like that. They put in something to replace the missing part of the imagination station technology.
Yep.
And so
And yeah. And then they say someone says I think it's Cal like exclaims like they're turning Odenton into lab rats.
Yeah.
And Wit's like, well, I wouldn't put it past them. It was like, whoa.
wow.
Okay.
Digging.
I mean,
thank you, Wit, for looking on the bright side of things.
yeah, but also at this point, he's not wrong.
No.
Because we know about everything with Dent
Yeah.
and
Charles.
and Charles and Monica pulling a gun on them and Mitch is dead. Like,
Yeah.
there's enough stuff here that it's like, oh yeah.
These guys aren't good people.
No.
Yeah, and then so Wit's like, I'm just gonna plug this thing into the imagination station.
Yeah. If I thought Jason was reckless watching TV, Wit takes
is
it to a whole nother
really
level.
dumb.
And I do not understand the technology of this, wherein he can pull a piece out of
It's
the,
not just
the
like
box
a puzzle.
and stick it into the thing.
Presumably,
And
it's like
it's fine. We're just gonna ignore all the inconsistencies.
It makes me think of like taking one stick of RAM out, like that had some important crap in it, and then putting another one in that was
not even
kind
how
of
RAM works.
Yeah. That's RAM. That's the point. Is that's random access memory. It doesn't have
Right.
anything stored on it.
Yeah. Good job, Andrew.
But they so he just kind of takes out, and in my head it feels like a stick of RAM because it just kind of pops in and pops out like it's like a puzzle piece or something.
Yeah.
And,
I don't know.
and then they just
I can't
cowabunga into this
believe-
spaceship.
Yeah, and there's part of me that like can't believe that the tech inside the imagination station,
Could be fit inside a satellite box.
especially when Wit spent who knows how long working on it.
Trying to make it. Yeah.
But I think maybe the difference is in the box. They're not doing any of like the VR-ish stuff.
yeah.
They're just doing
the input, it's just the
They're
output.
just doing the mind connecting stuff. I don't know. The tech here gets real wonky.
Don't look at it too closely. It'll only make you sad.
Yeah. And so
He
Wit-
jumps in and just
and tells Connie to use the emergency shutoff instead of putting a fire
Fire
extinguisher
extinguisher
through it, a la Wooten.
freaking Wooten. Poor guy.
And immediately you hear the classic, the classic imagination station startup
Which is
noise.
the first time somebody's gone in the imagination station in our series, right?
Except for when Wooten broke it apart. When-
Yeah. But because in the okay.
Yeah.
'Cause it got
Who,
broke.
was it Alex in there?
Yeah, it was Alex. Yeah.
So it was Alex.
Mr. Jefferson comes by. That's how I know. Why? I wish I could change this about myself, and I could just call him by his first name.
I don't know what his dad's first name is.
Yeah.
It's fine. So yeah,
Next page.
immediately screams out in pain.
Yeah. He's like, oh, and then he gets like he kind of yells like, turn it off. And so Connie turns it off.
Yep.
And he gets out, and they ask him like what happened, and he was like it was terrible, like I became pure evil. And then he lists off the most evil things he can think of, which is Cain from Cain and Abel.
Yep.
And then Pharaoh killing innocent babies because pro-life. And what was the other one? Oh, Herod.
Yep.
Right, Herod. And then Hitler and Stalin.
Yep.
And then that's it, because those are the last evil people to ever live.
Right.
And it's crazy.
I wish he got.
What?
How funny would it have been if he was like Bin Laden?
Yeah.
Like a year removed from that.
Exactly. Yeah. That would have been spicy.
That would have been. They don't do that.
They don't tread on that.
But it is. Yeah. That was like Cain, Pharaoh, Herod, Stalin, Hitler. We just jumped a lot of time and changed gears.
Yeah.
But okay.
What are other evil people? Herod, Stalin. Wait, what?
Yeah, I mean
Nobody in between there.
No.
What about
No.
Genghis Khan? He was not a nice guy.
What about the Crusaders?
Yeah, they also weren't great. But we can't say they're bad because they're technically Christians. But they were killing Muslims, so they're kind of good guys. So we don't like to talk about them. Osama bin Laden.
All right. And then he states that he became pure evil.
Yeah. And
So then he's like, we gotta contact everyone we know with one of these, talk to the
to warn them.
Mulligans. He says talk to the Jeffersons, but they don't have a
a
black box.
No, they don't have one. No more going to your cousin's house.
It's like, he's like saying talk to the Jeffersons to talk to their cousin, to talk like talk to Scott's parents,
just
or
talk
like
big crap about the Jeffersons' friends to them.
And then Whit says he's gonna go talk to his
satellite
friend at the cable company,
'Cause he
and
knows everybody?
he's gonna call Borland.
Yes. Which is, again, he just has his number.
Yeah, Peter
right.
Borland, FBI. He's got the
The personal number, his pager.
The business card.
Yeah, so Whit goes to the cable company and asks them about what's going on with the cable boxes, about the Black Veil Industries, and then
Just
the cable
Veil.
guy, or Veil Industries, and then he's like, I've been trying to get a hold of them all day. We've had to recall all the boxes. Veil has disappeared,
Yes.
which is they just gone.
Yeah.
Like, they were hard to get a hold of before, but now they are actually just non-existent.
Yeah, but they are
Taking away all the
this stuff. So go us.
Woohoo! We won.
Yeah. Whit brings up, just has a line where he's this is a spiritual battle and it's time to start treating it as one.
Yeah. Which is really good. Good guy Whit is back in this episode. It feels, which is great.
It feels like Whit's finally gotten past the me versus a company and is now like, let's go a level deeper here.
Yeah, there's something behind this. Like, you could forget that, like, even if it is you versus a company or a town versus a company, like, the way that you choose to combat that is different than the way that the world does it.
Yeah. Or two towns versus a company, because Alaska got the same tech as Odyssey at the same time.
Well, and Odenton and whatever.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it's not even Odyssey.
It's not even
it's
Odyssey.
Odenton. But
where is that just a county over?
I think it's the neighboring school district.
Okay. Jeez, that is close.
Yeah.
And if it's transmitting via radio waves, I'm surprised more people in Odyssey haven't been affected.
Well, it's only radio waves like within the room, though. It's not as though it's like the outdoor radios.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
It cuts back to Alaska, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so then we're back in Alaska. And Jason gets a new intern.
Yeah, he's also finding out about the devices being recalled.
Oh, okay.
And then he gets
Paula. right?
Paula,
His
the
new
intern.
intern.
And he is freaking out
Immediately.
at Walter about this whole intern thing.
Yeah.
Flipping out about how much of a mess this is.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da.
How much he doesn't want it.
This is a weird reference, but if you've seen the Star Wars The Clone Wars movie,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
animated one,
yeah.
the way Anakin reacts to
getting a
finding finding out that he's getting Ahsoka as his Padawan is the same way.
It's
Jason
exactly
reacts
it. Yeah,
here.
he freaks out. He's like, he's just gonna hold me back, and like, I don't need this right now. Like, I'm doing all this other stuff.
Yep.
And then
And
she's
then-
hot, and he cares
yes.
a lot more.
Yep.
Because thank goodness.
Yeah. He is.
And all of a sudden,
That-
like
that-
Mr.
that-
Suave
that-
James Bond just
Yeah.
turns into like giddy school guy who's never like seen
Right.
a girl before.
Yeah.
Even though like he's definitely had relationships. In
Oh,
the
I know.
past.
Tasha.
Yeah, Tasha was
Is-
a huge deal, and also
And is way better than Paula.
yeah, and also well, there was a thing with Connie for a moment where Connie liked him. And
Yeah,
he
I
didn't
don't.
like her
yeah, I was
back.
gonna say I think Connie.
But he
just
was like
crushed
pretty
on him
good,
for a while.
good with
Oh yeah,
her.
he's a good dude.
And good, well, and seems to be very good at relating to women. But apparently, Monica Stone, which
Yeah.
is Paula, it's not her,
Right?
I know,
Yeah.
is
Spoiler.
dead gorgeous, apparently.
Yeah, and he's stumbling and he's doing a bad job hiding it.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I guess it's an audio
Relax.
show, so you gotta hit it hard. But
But it's really beaten upside the head.
yeah, no kidding. And throughout the whole thing,
Yeah.
he's just kind of like, oh yeah, Walter, this is perfect, and Walter's kind of like, wait, I thought you
Didn't want that.
didn't want this, and he's like, no, it's great,
It's great. It's great.
I love it,
It's great.
this is everything I ever wanted.
great. Agent is great.
And then we then cut to a call between Paula / Monica and Jason, just to hammer home, in case you were listening
Yeah.
and didn't realize it was Monica,
Yeah.
that, because I mean,
Oh, you said Jason, you mean Mr. Charles, right?
yeah. What did I say?
You said Jason.
Oh
between
yes,
Monica
Monica and
Mr.
Charles. We just need to hammer home that they are in fact
This
is
person.
Monica,
Yeah.
not Paula. And we also find out that
Monica's up there looking for the package
Yep.
from Eugene.
yeah, that Eugene. We don't even know that Eugene mailed Jason a package until now. I don't think.
Yeah.
We know Wooten said that he mailed
Mailed
a
it to-
package on his last day there.
Yeah, but he didn't.
We never knew who
where,
to.
Yeah, where it went, which was
Yeah.
odd because it was kind of like they acted like it was known that it was going there.
Yeah. Well,
whatever.
I think this was just like a really good way of like keying the audience into.
Yeah.
He had the package. The weird thing then is Jason like has been in Alaska for like 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
How in the world did Eugene know to mail it to him in Alaska? Or did Eugene mail it to the missions board and they forwarded it? Who knows? But
A
also
lot of urgent emails.
Jason doesn't seem to know about this package.
No, Jason
So-
doesn't know about the package yet.
So yeah, there's part of me that kind of wishes they hadn't immediately revealed that.
Paula was Monica?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the same, like, I wish it wasn't telegraphed so hard in the same way that we got that like incredible Aram reveal.
Yeah, well, and also we could have just jumped in, like, I mean, maybe because it was the same, like, obviously it's the same voice actor and stuff like that, and they sound similar enough that the audience
Yeah.
could be like that, but because we don't know about the package, it definitely could have waited at least an episode.
Right.
Because it's
And-
just tacked on the end of a, like, otherwise, like, fine episode. Like,
Yeah.
it meets the length requirements without
It's-
the scene.
Yeah. No,
Um,
it's not like the scene really takes away from anything, but it just seems like I don't know.
It's like
I would've-
immediate
It would have
payoff.
been really interesting to see how things played out if we weren't immediately all aware that Paula's
bad.
got bad intentions.
Yeah. But yeah, and that's where the episode comes out,
Yeah. That is the end of the Black Veil.
which is good.
Other, I don't know, stray observation, just the fact that this is Veil Industries and it's not named after a space thing is really is really unfortunate.
Yeah, it should
Because
be.
every other Andromeda thing's like, oh, here's all the space
Galaxy
stuff.
Enterprise.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. In case of, I don't know.
was
Is it not obvious?
Galileo
Yeah.
Incorporated.
Yeah, it's all that stuff.
Yeah. It should have been. Missed opportunity. But then you don't get that sweet, sweet Black Veil, title.
I know. That
What
great
came first, the title or the name? We don't know.
It's true.
Yeah, well, final thoughts on the episode?
I don't know. I think I did a good job of speeding things up, tying things together, making kind of some of the puzzle pieces fit. I wasn't super, I don't know. I had an issue with some of the tech stuff.
Yeah.
And I just the wit experiencing pure evil just seemed like a little over the top.
Yeah.
And also,
even if he had just gotten out and was like, I'm just incredibly angry.
Right. Right. But I mean, the thing with the recall is it definitely seems like, oh, they're recalling this. This was an unintended side effect.
Yeah.
But Wit seems to think that like this was the plan.
Yeah.
Is to make a bunch
well,
of
they
people
say something
angry.
like, or Wit says something like, well, I probably got it in a more concentrated dose because I was in the imagination station, which amplifies everything so much more.
Yeah. But he still seems convinced that the boxes are built to do this.
To be bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, and that the side effect is apparently so large that, like, even when it's magnified a good bit, he experiences pure evil in his own imagination.
And if it's not magnified, you still get like
you've got the evil microchip that apparently can just be swapped out with any other part of the imagination station, and it's the size of probably a quarter.
Yeah. But yeah, that is.
Yeah, I would say, but the audio quality is really good. Like the audio engineering, like you said, like the way that you can really imagine what's going on, you can follow from scene to scene. The engineering's really good. And it makes them more, like, out of two very disjointed geographical locations, it makes a coherent plot.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
I think without it, it would be a lot more confusing. And even Black Veil Part 1, I didn't think was as good as this one as far as the way that they cut back and forth fairly seamlessly.
Right.
But it was good. Enjoyable. Different soundtrack, worth noting. It's more folksy than the Alaska. We touched on that last episode, but it's different.
Yep. And then that's the episode. And then we kind of have a gear shift next episode. So come back
into
for that.
Twisting Pathways.
Yeah. You got anything to plug, Mr. I won't drop this episode. I'll just keep everyone in suspense.
I lost the episode. It's gone. I don't know where it is. I spent like an hour looking for it on my hard drive. No joke. I don't know where it is. I purged my hard drive a while back, and I think I accidentally deleted it. So
yeah. So for those of you
that were
waiting in anticipation for my Scrub soundtrack,
oh boy,
you'll maybe get one sometime, but it's not going to be.
It's hard. I mean, real talk. It's hard to try and do solo stuff right now, just because I'm in school, and this podcast takes up a decent chunk of my free time. Like time that I would otherwise spend recording other things. So I am looking forward and making plans for the summer as far as trying to have consistent releases of one, if not both, of the ones that I'm involved in.
Cool.
So there you go.
Cool.
What about you? Anything?
Well, so yesterday I got to record an appearance on another podcast, so I will keep you guys posted when that goes live. But I am very excited to share that with all of you. So
big shot.
So that's our episode, and we'll be back here next week with Twisting Pathway, episode 492, if you care about those numbers. Bye.
Bye.
WadFam Chalk Pod is a presentation of the Lidditz Podcast Cooperative. This show is a fan podcast and has no official affiliation with Adventures in Odyssey or Focus on the Family. As such, the copyright is ours under Creative Commons. Follow the podcast at WadFamChalkPod on Twitter and Instagram, or email us at wadfamchalkpod@gmail.com. Episode 20, The Black Veil Part 2, was hosted by Dylan Weaver and Andrew Sabo, and edited by Dylan Weaver. And I'm Nathan Haverstick, hoping you'll join us next time for more of the WadFam Chalk Pod.